Good morning to all of you here. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
I forgot to pause for your reply. Thank you. To all of you here in the chapel and on YouTube. We're especially glad to have those of you who may be with us for the first time and hope to see you again soon. I'm Jean Weigant, your worship leader today. And I don't do well with an elephant in the room, so I'm going to insert a few of my own thoughts here. Regardless of our personal feelings about former President Trump, I'm sure many or all of us are still reeling from news of his attempted assassination and the injuries and death of others at his political rally yesterday. This was a horrific event, and I want to acknowledge the impact it has on each of us in some way. Our speaker today is Suzie Matranga-Watson, our own community minister since 2000. Her topic is being brave and having courage in these times. We wish to acknowledge that for at least 13,000 years, many tribes and bands have made their lives here where our church home and our communities now exist. We remember and honor these people who have made their homes in this land, the ones here now and the ones who have lived here before. In peace, may we share this land and honor one another. As we begin our service, let's take a moment to greet each other. Let's greet each other. First, turn to the cameras in the back where the clock used to be and wave to our friends on YouTube. And then turn and greet each other here in the chapel. Now let us prepare our hearts and minds as we listen to the prelude and move into worship, willing to be authentic with each other, honest with ourselves, and open to connections in all forms. Sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
The opening words are from the Reverend William F. Schultz. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity needs not mean decisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. On your seat around you is a little piece of paper, and it's and a pencil, and it says, "I was brave and or courageous when I." So if you feel comfortable, please fill that out. Don't put your name. And then I think it's after Joys and Concerns, we will have a basket passed around, and we'll bring it up here. And I'll use it in my sermon. Thank you. Our opening hymn is Just as Long as I Have Breath. And it is number 6 in the gray hymnal, but the words are on the screen. Please rise if you're willing and able in body and or spirit.
Now I would like to invite Tara and the children to come forward for a time for all ages.
Good morning. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about being brave and having courage. Have you ever been in a situation that felt hard or even a little bit scary? I bet you have. Maybe you were trying something for the first time or performing in front of an audience. Well, we all have a superpower inside of us called courage. Courage helps us face our fears and try new things. Our story today is called I Am Courage. It is full of I am statements. These are called affirmations. They're things you can always say to yourself. I am brave. I believe in myself. I can do hard things. Affirmations are like magic words that help you feel stronger. See if you hear them in the story and look for the courage inside of you. So I Am Courage, a book of resilience by Susan Verde, illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. When there are challenges in front of me, when I feel unstable, like I might fall, and I think about turning back or giving up, when my mind tells me I can't, I look inside myself and find the strength that lives deep down, and I tell my mind, yes, I can. I have faith in what's possible. I accept the challenge and keep on going. I move ahead one breath at a time. I act with bravery. I am courage. I can trust what my gut is telling me. I believe in myself. I can feel scared but still carry on. I persevere. I can tumble and still get up again. I am resilient. I can lean on those around me. I am not afraid to ask for support. I can encourage another when there is doubt. I am uplifting. I can know there is no shame in sharing. I tell my story. I can step in when others are struggling. I know how to help. I can be the one to clear the way for someone else. I am an example. When I feel uncertain and start to lose my balance, I find my center and gather my strength. I know what I am. I am courage. And I can keep going. We can all keep going. We are strong. We are capable. We are important, we are courage, and we are triumphant. Courage is not about never feeling scared. It's about doing the right thing even when you're nervous. And guess what? The more you practice being brave, the braver you become. Now, Reverend Suzie and the adults will keep talking about bravery, and we will go back to our classroom. If the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, we will sing the children out.
So, settle down just a little. Get your feet on the floor. This is time for a little quiet time. A time to reflect, to let go, to let your worries hopefully roll off your shoulder. Close your eyes and breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. This is from Nancy Wood. It is our quiet time. We do not speak because the voices are within us. It is our quiet time. We do not walk because the earth is all within us. It is our quiet time. We do not dance because the music has lifted us up to a place where the spirit is. It is our quiet time. We rest with all of nature. We wake when the seven sisters awake. We greet them in the sky over the opening of the kiva. Please remain seated, and we will sing hymn number 396 in the gray hymnal. The words will be on the screen. Mary will play it once, and then we will sing it twice.
In preparation for this service, I looked up quotes on courage. There are lots of them. I've selected a few for this reading, beginning with these words from Mark Twain. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Seneca, a philosopher of ancient Rome, said, "It's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." American author and motivational speaker Leo Buscaglia tells us, "To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken because the greatest hazard of life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing does nothing, has nothing, is nothing. He may avoid suffering and sorrow, but he simply cannot learn, feel, change, grow, live, and love." American author and businessman John A. Shedd tells us, "A ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for." And this from Jim Hightower, columnist, political activist, and author. "The opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow." Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage also is what it takes to sit down and listen." The late senator and civil rights activist John Lewis said, "Courage reflects your spirit. It reflects something deep within all of us who would rather defy an authority than go along with something that is morally wrong. Raw courage makes us stand up and speak out in the face of fear. Courage helps us overcome doubts and reservations. It's not something that comes from reason or logic, but is born from the heart and the divine purpose to take the right path." So in the words of theologian and writer C.S. Lewis, courage, dear heart.
When I started thinking about giving a sermon on bravery, I thought courage and bravery were the same thing. But to my surprise, there is a difference. They are actually two sides of a same coin. Both of these aspects are necessary for us to function in our world today. This bravery versus courage quote might help clarify the difference. To embark on the journey towards our goals and dreams requires bravery. To remain on the path requires courage. Steve Barloni. Bravery can be defined as a capacity, an ability, an act of self-improvement, and even a personality trait. Clearly, without small acts of bravery, it wouldn't be so easy to move forward in life and become aware of who you are, what you want, and what you feel. Because being brave is also an act of conscience, an act of faith, and a step forward in our own life. Bravery is related to overcoming fears, facing challenges, and embarking on unsafe or somewhat risky adventures. Bravery is more likely to be an expression of sheer strength. That's also an element of giving up control that comes with bravery. A person's conscious mind shuts down, and they go into autopilot. This allows bravery to take over. An example of bravery might be a person sees a child floundering in the river. Without thinking, that person dives in and saves that child. On the other hand, courage is undertaken with full awareness and fear. When someone acts courageous, they know exactly what they're getting themselves into, even if it's something that might be painful or a difficult situation. But courage is about understanding something bigger than ourselves. There's always a concept or an idea behind courage that makes the risk worth it. Something so important to us that we take a chance in spite of the known danger. Someone who's courageous may still go into a situation where they know they will fail. They do it because they know it is the right thing to do. Courage is exercise a conscious choice, one motivated by virtuous emotions like compassion, concern, or love. In contrast, exercising bravery is more like often done without as much thought. Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." So courage involves taking a principled stand or overcoming inner obstacles such as self-doubt, anxiety. Bravery involves facing external threats or challenges, such as physical danger or personal risk. Courage is associated with moral and ethical virtues. Bravery is associated with physical and external feats of heroism. Excuse me. E.G. Jean Carroll, Stormy Davis, Liz Cheney, and Cassidy Hutchinson are 4 women who have not only been brave, but they are courageous, and they are our heroes or sheroes. They have confronted and shared the truth about the former president's lies, malicious actions, behaviors, and sexual abuse at the expense of much personal pain, the loss of positions, and the stress of sharing and living through these events. I'm going to talk a little bit about all those 4 women and how they are courageous. E. Jean Carroll, or Jean Carroll, is a writer. A Manhattan federal jury found Donald Trump sexually abused her in a luxury department store dressing room in the spring of 1996 and awarded her $5 million for battery and defamation. Carroll alleged Trump raped her in the Berkendorf Goodman department store and then defamed her when he denied her claim. In November of 2022, Carroll filed a second lawsuit against him. The trial took place in April 2023, and the jury verdict found Trump liable for sexual abusing and defaming Carroll, ordering him to pay an additional $83.3 million in damages. A lot of money. Stormy Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford. Somehow it's not as exciting as Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels took the witness stand at Donald Trump's hush money trial, describing for jurors a sexual encounter the adult film star said she had with him in 2006 that resulted in her being paid $130,000 to keep silent during the presidential race 10 years later, Ms. Daniels testified that her life descended into chaos after the deal was made public, saying she was ostracized and harassed, even in her own home. With her testimony, a Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty of all 34 charges of falsifying business records on May 30th this year, in an unprecedented and historical verdict that makes Trump the first former president in American history to be a convicted felon. Liz Cheney, or Elizabeth Liz Cheney. She represented Wyoming's at-large congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2017 to 2023, and she served as the chair of the House Republican Conference, the third highest position in the House Republican leadership from 2019 to 2022. In July of 2021, Speaker Nancy Pelosi appointed Cheney to the House Select Committee on the January 6th attack. That committee consisted of 2 Republicans, and she was one of them. 2 months later, she was made the vice chair of the committee. Because of her stance on the Capitol riot, her impeachment vote, and her opposition to Trump's false, stolen election narrative, pro-Trump Freedom Caucus members of the House of Republican Conference twice attempted to remove her from party leadership. On August 16th of 2022, Cheney lost renomination in Wyoming's Republican primary to a Trump-endorsed Harriet Hagelman in a landslide. Just to understand the previous election where she was voted before that, she won like 80% of the vote. Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson, a 26-year-old former top advisor to then-President Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, spent 2 hours before the House January 6th committee and the world divulging details about what she said went on behind the scenes leading up to, during, and after the attack. Committee members and even some former Trump staffers hailed the 26-year-old for showing the courage to deliver her testimony publicly. But, quote, "But thanks to the courage of certain individuals, the truth won't be buried. The American people won't be left in the dark." She provided testimony on President Donald Trump's conduct and that of his senior aides and political allies before and during the January 6th United States Capitol attack. Hutchinson's testimony received significant national attention, with several media outlets labeling it as compelling and explosive, despite criticism from Trump allies. And she incurred threats to her life by speaking up. These 4 women knew that the actions that they would have consequences, yet they had to follow their heart, their ethics, and act with moral behavior. The bravest thing you can do often begins with a single step: acknowledging your fear. Liz, Jean, Stormy, and Cassidy have changed the world with their courage and bravery. But have we not changed the world with our own courage and bravery also? Now, we can't be Liz Cheney or Cassidy Hutchinson, or can we? I was sharing my ideas of the sermon with a friend, and she said, you need to add in your sermon incidents of bravery and courage from everyday people, not famous people. She gave me permission to share her story. So this is Rose's story. When Rose was in grammar school, she had a library book. And you know, the library book has plastic over the cover of it. Well, she started picking at it, and picking at it, picking at it. Next thing she knows, she's taken the whole plastic cover off the book. And it's just like, she doesn't even know why she did it. And is scared because she has to return the library book. So she goes to return the library book, and in her mind, in reviewing that, she thought the librarian was like hiding a smile as she was talking to her about how she had done this to this book and she was sorry and blah, blah, blah. The librarian acknowledged it, took the book and said, thank you. Didn't charge her, didn't do anything else. Rose says that incident in her life has been a key marker for her in her journey of courage. Every time she said she's had a time in her life that she had to be courageous, she thought of what she had done, of how she stood up and she acknowledged that she had done that to that book. Knowing there might be consequences, knowing that, you know, bad things could happen because of her behavior. But that incident, she is now over 70, and that incident through her life has been her token of her courage. Now, I asked you to write down an incident when you were courageous or brave, and I'm going to pick them out and read them. I will also read anything from online. Is there anything online?
Not at this time.
Okay. Now, you're not supposed to put your name. If you did by mistake, I'm not going to say anybody's name, because these incidents in your lives are also part of everyone else's lives. Drum roll. I was brave and/or courage when I wrote and led an initiative to raise minimum wage in Idaho. I had to write the initiative copying Washington State's law. It was very difficult, lots of paperwork. We did not get enough signatures, but we found much support. I was brave and/or courageous when I reached out to friends, family, and therapists for help when I was in a pretty deep depression period of my life. We need each other, all of us, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I was brave and/or courageous when I survived the first Trump presidency. I was brave and courageous when I came here after not going to church for a while and nervous if it would be a good fit. I hope whoever wrote this feels it is a good fit, because we are a good group of people. I was brave and courageous when I asked for help. That is very courageous. And we all need to ask for help in our lives at some point. I was brave and courageous when I chose to respect myself over the harmful beliefs that I was raised with. Boy, lots of us, this is our statement. I was brave and courageous when I felt fear, but did it anyway. Divorce and single parenthood. very hard for so many people. I was brave and courageous when I picked up and moved with my children to a new city, sometimes for love, sometimes for a new job. I didn't know the city or the job or any people there, but I knew it was what I needed to do for me and my children, and I'm glad I followed my heart. I was never scary. It was to do. No, maybe I'm reading this wrong. However scary it was. Following your heart is sometimes difficult, you know? You know what you need to do, but the next step, who knows what will happen? I was brave and courageous when I ran across 4 lanes of freeway in Seattle to save 2 dogs. That's when the brain went out and the bravery kicked in. I was brave and courageous when I came to Eastrose looking for friendship and community. Thank you for being here. Yes. I knew when I came to Eastrose 35 years ago, I knew I was home. It was right. I was brave and courageous when I kept going and continue to keep going. I'm going to read all these. We got time. I was brave and courageous when I got lost. I lost myself in fresh snowfall searching for a lost skier. Wow. I was brave and courageous when I just kept showing up in the endless uncertainty of days, either expended or exceptional or ordinary, to go toward the unknown. This person is a beautiful writer. I was brave and courageous when I said no when appropriate, old habits challenged when I used to say yes when my heart said no. That is something, the hardest thing that people do, including me, is to learn to say no. I was brave and courageous when I remembered and wrote to relatives, friends, and my second grade teacher about my father and his, I can't read that, and I'm sorry, male friend, and involved in incest, child prostitution, and pornography. I was brave and courageous when I let go of the hatred of my stepfather that tortured and terrified my mother, brother, and me for 7.5 years. When you let go, you heal. And it's hard. I was brave and courageous when I confronted my husband about his abuse of my child. I was brave and courageous when I helped care for a relative who was dying. Yes. I was brave and courageous when I transferred something for an email, thank you, to a large competitive place. transferred college from an email, something, making a big change in your life, whoever wrote that. I was brave and courageous when I reported for elective surgery on my hip, despite being so fearful that I almost turned it down. From online, I was brave when my counselor told me what I did not want to hear. Isn't that the truth? And lastly, I was brave and courageous when I stood up to my boss to save my job, required a calm and diplomatic approach when I wanted to run or fight. These are all of us and more. The pain, the fear, the joy, the relief, all of it. It's all of us. And all of us can be support for each other. Now, our future is scary. The upcoming election, climate change, wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, and of course, gun violence, just to name a few scenarios. But it's essential to gather the courage to face our fears and acknowledge their existence and take steps forward despite them. Remember, we have all done brave and courageous acts in our lives, every single one of us. So as you go forward, be strong and make sure you are supported by others during this journey. In 2024 and beyond, what will you do to be courageous? I will end with this reading by Elena Westboro called Holy and Generous Love. Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long and we can bend it forward toward justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform our lives. Amen, and blessed be. The closing hymn, please rise or you're willing and able, embody your spirit. It is I Know I Can Go On. It's number 1015 in the Teal book, and the verses 1, 2, and 5, and will be on the screen. never seen that song before. Oh, we did? Well, for me not singing that song.
Yeah, I think if we sang that a few times and really got it down, it'd be a good one to sing. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-sustaining church and its ministries. And I'll give you a minute when I finish talking to get your wallets out, so you don't have to right now. You can just listen and learn about. Here at Eastrose, we share half our offering with a community nonprofit that we support. This month, we're sharing with Outgrowing Hunger. Outgrowing Hunger builds and operates community farms and gardens for refugees, immigrants, and people who care about affordable access to real food in Portland and Gresham. They are the contract operator for all of the community garden programs in Gresham, including Nadaka Park, and many of the gardens in East Portland. They also have a 22-acre farm in Mooring where they rent irrigated farmland to qualified growers. If you are attending online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking the Donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guests. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received.
The benediction is from Wayne B. Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Our closing hymn will be 10:15. I know oh, we just did that. So sorry. Postload.
some announcements. First of all, be sure to look at the pedals online because there are always information and announcements in there. I have two here, one from Keene. Keene, you want to wave your hand? Yeah. There will be a work party this coming Saturday, July 20th from 9 to 12. All hands are appreciated. There's a lot to do. So show up here in your work clothes. If you've got yard tools that you want to bring along, fine. Should be some things provided here, but come and get a little dirty. Oh yeah, Keene will find you something to do. And Ann has an announcement. Okay, just come use the microphone.
I was surmising that it would be nice if we had a committee that did coffee, because sometimes it's hard to remember a specific date. And so if we had like 5 group people, then we could do the first Sunday, the second Sunday that way. And then if you at the last minute you had something come up, you'd know who to call. And so we need about 5 or 6 people to sign up to be the coffee committee. And maybe instead of trying to find me, you could put your name on the past dates and then and maybe your contact number, like so we could quickly form a committee of coffee people.
Thank you, Ann. That's all the announcements I have, and I don't think there are any others. So now it's time to have some visiting time and eat, but not our neighbors. So there. Thank you for coming. There is coffee in the room at the end of the hall.